Hello, folks. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to get this done before too much more time goes by. This is just a note about what happened today. Let me turn off my hand gesture here. Hold on. It's just easier to do it that way. Okay. First of all, they had an activity today. Now, you got to hand it to them for doing activities for us. I think they did one on Halloween. Hang on again. And then today they did an Easter one, which is, that's great. Get people out, have them do something. Do some more stuff, right? Problem is, I went outside and I talked to the assistant in charge of the events coordination. She helped do this thing. And I talked to her about something associated, and I came inside. And the funny thing is, there was nobody here. The patients, or the residents, I should say, were here, but there's no nurse, no CNAs. Somebody had a light on. Nobody was answering it. So I turned around and went down to where there was a window I could look outside and see what was going on. I looked there and I could see the nurse that's supposed to be here was outside. The CNA that's supposed to be up here was outside. And I couldn't find the other CNA, but I didn't see her, I don't think, for the rest of the shift. I only saw the one nurse and the one CNA for the rest of the shift. So nobody was answering call lights. Somebody had a call light on, and I put a call light on, and it took about, I forget how long, 15 minutes, half an hour, for somebody who just happened to walk in by, who brought somebody back inside from that Easter thing. She asked me what I needed. I needed some more, some water. And I imagine she answered the other one too, because it took her a little bit longer and I didn't hear the beeping anymore after she left. But it's really good that they're doing things, events and stuff outside. But they need to schedule it so that people, they scheduled it at 2:00. It should, in my opinion, either you schedule somebody to be here, to stay here and answer call lights for the people who can't or won't go outside, or you schedule it at shift change so that the people that are going off shift can participate, or stay here and answer call lights while the others participate, whatever that happens to be, as long as somebody's always here to answer call lights. So as far as that goes, I was a little ticked off about that, because that went on for, some people came in after about a half an hour or so, but it was like an hour's thing. Now, I know that maybe the assistant events coordinator might get upset about this, but what I'm saying is that it's great that they're doing the events. What's not great is that they didn't schedule anybody to stay here, or just tell somebody, hey, look, you're going to at least half of it stay there, and make sure that there was somebody here in case somebody needed you to call 911, somebody was dying, having a heart attack, anything like that. There was nobody here. There was nobody here for over half an hour. And it just blew my mind. When I came in here, I expected there to be somebody here, like one of the CNAs would be here or something. Nobody was here. And I got a CNA that doesn't even work in this area. She's from another place. She happened to go into, because the laundry room is down this hallway, happened to go into the laundry room. And that's why she answered my call. Like, the CNA was not here, to answer the call out. Then later on tonight, the reason that it's 1 o'clock in the morning is I've had my call light on since 10:15. Now it's been off and on. There've been CNAs in here. This last time was kind of my fault because I forgot how bad the CNAs can be on third shift. And yeah, I've been waiting for over half an hour so far for somebody to come in and give me water. But prior to that, my call light had been on from about 10:15 to 11:15. And some guy I've never seen him before come in here. I guess he's new. Unless he just works nights. I've never seen him down here before. He's always been up front or something. But yeah, I don't recognize him. I think he's new. He came in at, it was almost 10:15. He came in. Yeah, it was an hour. An hour had gone by, just shy of an hour. But it was about 11:10. And it was 11:15. He came in, he said, "What do you need?" And now I had already been waiting for an hour. I'm sitting, I told him, I said, I needed to be changed. And because, once I'm in the bed, I can't do anything. I mean, I can use the urinal to get my dress. So I had to be changed. Now, I waited an hour, and then he came in. I never recognized him. He said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need to be changed." He said, "All right, I'll be right back." I said, "Oh, okay." So I closed my laptop. I pushed the table aside. I unplugged it just in case he needs to move the table out of his way and all that. And 45 minutes goes by. Well, it was over 40. And I think it was just shy of 45. But, and then, I put my glasses down, and then somebody comes in dressed in a gown, like one of those throwaway gowns. I guess she might have had to wear it for me because I have a UTI thing. So maybe, but I didn't know it was a female until she got close enough. I thought it was him again because he had longer hair. And when he came in, I had my glasses on. But when she came in, I didn't have my glasses on. So between the gown and the longer hair, I thought that was the same guy. Until she came a little closer, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Why did he say he'd be right back?" Now, meantime, I heard him. I think he was talking on the phone the entire time I was sitting here waiting because his voice never moves. I only heard his voice. And nobody was answering back, in other words. He never moved. And it sounded like he was on the phone. It sounded like he was talking to somebody. He was having an argument with somebody, like a wife or something. All right, the whole time for 45 minutes, I'm sitting here waiting to be changed. And he never even asked me, "Well, how long has it been? How long has the light been on?" That's one of the things that ticks me off about this place, is people come in and they'll say, "Well, I just got here." Like the nurse practitioner today, they just switched over doctors. I've been asking to see the doctor for 3 months. And I haven't seen him. When the UAB left here, for some reason there was a change in doctors. UAB is no longer the doctor. But a week before they left, I went over and I said, "Well, they happened to be talking to the guy across the hall from me." And I went over there and I said, "It's been a couple of months. I've been trying to see the doctor, and nobody has, there's been nothing." And she said, "Well, you have to be put on the list." And I said, "Well, I was put on the list by the nurse that I continue to have problems with for over a month. At least once a week, I would say, 'Where's the doctor?' And she'd say, I'll put you on the list. I'll put you on the list again." And this went on for over a month. Finally gave up. I just canceled some of my medications myself. And then these doctors came in and I said, "Oh," and I told them about the story. And there was a woman there that had like a tablet, I think. She might have been a laptop. And said, "I'm the one who schedules the doctors when they need it." And so the doctors told me they'd come by the next day. They never came by. So that week went by, they were gone. So the new doctor was here. I happened to be coming in when the new doctor was leaving. And I stopped him in the hallway and I told him what was going on, how long it had been. He says, "Hey, I'll send my nurse practitioner to see you tomorrow, and she'll take care of this and write a new prescription for you because I needed overactive bladder prescription, in addition to canceling out some of my prescription because I think I'm over medicated." All right. That day came and went. She didn't show up. So the next day, I said something to, I think it's the assistant DON. She said, "Well, I'm going to see her later today. I'll send her right to your room immediately." So I saw she never came by that day. So the next day, I happened to be in the therapy room. They happened to be both the nurse practitioner and the assistant DON happened to be there at the same time. And I went up and I told her, I said, "Are you the nurse practitioner?" And I told her what happened. And the DON was right there. I said, "Well, she told me that she was going to send you right down." She said, "Well, I'm busy. I can't come by. Put your name on a list, and when I get time, I'll come by." I'm like, and I said, "Well, in addition to taking my meds off, I also need to have a prescription written." So she asked me if I had ever been on overactive bladder medication before. I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Was it this one?" I said, "Yeah, that sounds familiar." And so she just told the assistant DON, "Yeah, give him this, make it this." And that was that. She said, "Well, I'll come by and see you when I get a chance." So that was, sorry, that was trying to see a doctor. I've been trying to see a doctor for 3 months. And now I've got a different doctor, and I still can't see him. What the heck? Now, in the last nursing home, this is why I got a little nervous about it. In the last nursing home, they charged me for 12 office visits in like a month. I was like, "What the heck?" And I talked to Medicaid because they were the ones that they stopped paying my doctors. I'm like, "What the heck is going on?" And they told me what happened, that I had been charged. And you only get 12 office visits per year on Medicaid. So they used them all up in like 1 month. And I'm like, "Well, that's not possible. I've only seen the doctor like 3 times all year." Well, it turned out that they committed some kind of fraud. This was a nursing home. Well, really, to be more specific, the doctor or the nurse practitioner or whatever that was here before. Now, the nurse practitioner came and talked to me and said it wasn't her, that this company that they said charged my insurance or Medicaid was some 3 letters, associates, that kind of thing. And unless I knew exactly who it was that defrauded me, I can't claim fraud. So I had to wait 6 months before I could see a doctor again. So that's what I was afraid was happening all over again. And I actually mentioned something. She said, "No, I'm just so busy, I can't get out." And I'm like, one of the things that we're in a nursing home for is to get medical attention. So why is this girl didn't come by here and UAB didn't come by here? Yet they're always here. They're going to other rooms, but they're not coming in this room. I think, honest to God, I think there's a difference between Medicaid and Medicare, and that's what the problem is. That they're paying more attention to the people that have Medicare than they are to the people that have Medicaid. I only have Medicaid. So, because the nurse at the previous nursing home I was at, she told me, shoot, I forgot to turn on the face follow thing. She told me that she didn't realize I was listening to the. Hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Now I'll follow. All right. Yeah, she did. What was I going to say? Oh, the nurse practitioner in the other nursing home said to me that, or she didn't know that I was actually the nurse that was on duty at the time was texting her because I had said something to him several times. And then finally I was like, where the heck is she? Because this was before I found out anything about this. And then she texted him back, and he was reading it as she texted me. And I don't think he caught himself until he had already read it at least too far, and he had to finish reading it. But she said, well, tell him to stop getting free insurance and get some real insurance. And then I kept seeing him, and I was like, really? And that's what I thought happened here as well. Something along those lines, you know. So as long as I get my new prescription, I can just refuse to take the rest of the medication. I don't know how that works with Medicaid if you refuse medication. But unless she comes over, I'm not going to continue to take medication that's not even working. You know, it's just ruining my liver for nothing. So let me think if that's it. I don't want to make this a very long video. It already looks like 15 minutes. Let's see. I had to wait. Oh, and now I've been needing some water because when they come in, oh, I forgot that part too. And the nurse came in, the woman that came in to change me. She put 2 briefs on me. She like doubled them up. And I said, well, I only want the one. Now, mind you, I'm specifically telling her as a resident, I only want one, the one I'm supposed to have. She put that one and a smaller one on me. And I said, I could tell that she was putting 2 on me. I said, because I was rolled over to the side, you know. And I said, I only want the one. She said, well, I'm putting the other one on just in case. I'm like, well, first of all, the policy, actually in all nursing homes, at least in Alabama, it's probably all, period, is that you don't do that. That's actually against, I don't know if it's against the law or what the deal is, but in that nursing home, you know, county over, and this nursing home, both places, they said they can't do that. They're not allowed to do that. And I think it has something to do with something about the Council on Aging or whatever. Seems to me someone said something like that. So, but she went ahead and put it on me, and I'm like, and I said, well, you know, and then usually they leave it like only attached on one side so you can keep using the urinal. And I said, well, just leave it undone then. And she said, what do you mean? I said, because as long as I've got 2 of them on, I have to undo it anyway. You might as well not even do it. So she was a little huffy about that. Again, I didn't recognize her either. So I think her and the guy were both new. So I don't know, you know, but she was already violating the rules of the place by giving me by double diapering me or whatever you call it. So I can foresee what's going to happen. I'm going to go off on them, you know. And now we just changed the director of nursing. The one I've been talking to, her last day was Friday? Is that Friday? Yeah, today, Friday. This was her last day. So she's gone. Now, Monday, I've already met this dude. It's a guy that's the director of nursing. And I said something when I was talking to her. I said, is he going to give me his phone number too? Because I used to text her when something was wrong. And he just had this look. He just winced and looked like, hell no, I'm not giving you my phone number. And I was like, oh no. I'm going to have a problem with this guy too. I can just tell. If not, you know, good. I'm glad. But I just have a feeling there's going to be a problem with this guy too. I hope not. But anyway, for now, I've been waiting for almost an hour for somebody to answer my call like, I need water. Now, it's my fault for not realizing when they came in, they had first they changed me, then the guy came in and changed and had to empty my urinal almost immediately. You know, and I was like, I'm going to tear this other diaper out if I have an issue. Thankfully, well, I didn't have an issue. I would if with some CNAs, they're like, they don't think that they need to empty it all the time. So they're like telling me, "Oh, you gotta fill this up more," and I can't do that with 2 diapers on because they're quite thick. And I have no choice but I have to mess around and put the urinal, between my knees because I can't roll to the side like other people do and stuff. So, yeah, it would have been a problem. It wasn't a problem this time. So the guy came in and answered and he emptied it. It's my fault for not realizing this is 3rd shift, and I'll be lucky if somebody comes in here before 3 in the morning, maybe. I can still hear people talking. So somebody's out there, and they're just not answering the call. Now, this also happened at 10:15 because shift changes at 11. So I had somebody who took me out of the chair, put me in the bed, and she left. Now, shortly after she left, I had to be changed. So it was like 10:15. I put my light on. I thought she was out there because I could hear voices. I could hear people laughing and carrying on out there. Well, from the time I put my light on until an hour later, I continued to hear people out at the nurse's desk laughing and cutting up and carrying on. I never heard the CNA's voice, though, the one that took me out of the chair. I have a feeling that these people have been having the people that I can't work with on this shift because everyone likes this shift because it's way out of the way. I have a feeling that they've had those people, and these were all females tonight. But I think that the girl and probably at least some of her friends were down here, then they don't want to mess with me. So they've been getting this other woman who usually works up front. And every time I see her, I'm like, I don't understand why I'm seeing her when I saw her working up front or whatever. Well, I never heard her voice. So from 10:15 until 11:15, they did a shift change at 11. I never heard her, but I heard other people out here at the nurse station laughing and yucking it up. Well, everybody, it doesn't matter if you're the janitor, housekeeping, anything. You're supposed to answer call lights. They didn't do that here. Now that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm doing another series, and so far I'm up to 3 videos specifically about what nursing homes have to do for residents in laws in Alabama, the actual state and federal laws that apply. And that's turning out to be a longer thing than I meant for it to originally be, because it's some dry stuff. But if you have a loved one going into a nursing home, you got to listen to it. So I know for a fact that they're not supposed to do what they were doing tonight, and they do it anyway. So, that's twice today that there was nobody here answering call lights that should have been answered. This last time, particularly my call up. And now it's been almost an hour. It'll be an hour at 1:30 that my call light to get water is not being answered. And I can hear a voice, but I'm not sure if it's a television in another room or not because it's very faint. Usually when they're at the nurse's station, I can hear them almost like they're standing outside my door. So anyway, that's enough of that. It's been like 22 minutes, I think. I'm trying to keep these videos shorter. It's just there's a lot of information to go over. And you would think that this series that I've been doing on this nursing home that I'm in now would have only been, 4 videos, 5 videos would have been a lot. And I'm pushing 30. I'm at 30 videos because every day there's something new. There's always some reason why I need to record what happened and what I think, etc., and so on. And then that's in addition to the op-eds I'm doing that's under editorial that have to do with whether somebody should send a loved one here or not. And let me tell you right now, the way I'm looking at things, probably not. No, I wouldn't send anybody here. If you don't have to, if you're not, scraping the bottom of the barrel, which is what I was doing, the only way I could get from that county to this county, which is where my family lives, was to come here. So I think there is one that's worse than this one, but most of these don't take people under 65. So I had to just take what I could just to get into the county. Now, honestly, this place is better than where I was in the other county. But I still, at this point, no. There's just, if you have a loved one that just needs like to be in a nursing home, like there's a woman up here that, she's on oxygen. That's pretty much it. She goes to the bathroom by herself. She gets in and out of bed by herself. Her room looks like a bedroom at home. I mean, she's got lamps and all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, if that's the way that your loved one is, okay, because they can kind of help themselves. But if they're the kind of person who needs somebody to answer that call, like because they could be choking, or you might have to call 911, do not, because these people are not prepared right now for anybody that needs any kind of emergency service. That's just the way it is. Now, I'm working on making sure that that's not the case anymore, but it's like pulling teeth. I've been here for 9 months. I talked to the old DON about some of the issues going on here. Some of them were kind of changed, but I get the impression that what they did was that what I said a minute ago. They changed it to where people were specifically going out of the way for me, but not everybody. And the reason, and then they weren't even doing it that much for me, but believe me, it just got a little better. It's still not fixed. And then when I started, where they didn't have to pay as much, they didn't have to change it all the time because I didn't know about the journal thing. All of a sudden, I have to do things myself. And then the thing with the girl happened. Then I have to do even more myself, And I'm all the time hearing call lights are on. And I have, when we go to the resident meeting, other people complaining about the same things I've been complaining about for 9 months. I've even had people, as far as the kitchen staff goes, coming to me and complaining to me to see if I can change it for them. That's pretty bad. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble again. It's been another few minutes. So, like, comment, subscribe. And if you can afford it, if you're doing well, please send me some Bitcoin, ADA, something at cryptic.blockchain. You can see that in the description. And thanks a lot. Hold on, I gotta put my glasses on to stop this recording.